can start. Okay, sure. Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Hamda, and I'm an engineer at Do. Today, I'll take you through the journey of IoT. How did it start? Where did it get its name from? And how it evolved? And recently, how IoT have contributed in our life just to fight against COVID-19. So there is a lot of complexities around Internet of Things. So I'll just stick to the basics for a better understanding of the concept itself. So moving to the next slide, which is the agenda slide. I'll be speaking about the history of Internet of Things. And also, I'll be talking about the IoT definitions and mentioning some of real use cases in our lives. Also, I'll mention some of the IoT architectures and the layer of IoT architecture. Also, I'll mention a couple of applications and use cases that we've seen in our lives in fighting pandemic. At the end, I'll only mention couple of slides about the IoT verticals and in Do, and the innovation lab that we are hosting in Do. Okay, so moving to the history slide, the first or the entire idea of the connected devices itself traces its roots to 1832, where the very first electromagnetic telegraph was invented, as you can see in the, for example, the picture on the right. Yes, it was the first very event of devices linked to each other to exchange information, but yet we cannot call it IoT as it was not connected to the internet. Only like two ends speaking to each other to exchange information, or like to have to exchange, for example, any news or reports. In moving to in 1999, the someone called, or a British technology pioneer called Kevin Ashton, who was born in 1968. Kevin Ashton is known as the father of Internet of Things. Why? Because he coined the term to illustrate the power of RFID tags used in the corporate supply chains. This is in order to, for example, track goods or count them without the need of human being interaction or human being intervention. This was in 1999, but still in 2008, it is believed that IoT was born, and in 2010, IoT was running at full pace and simply connecting everything with anything. And we can find, for example, IoT devices in all areas of our lives and in everything that we can see. Yes, the term is relatively new, but the concept of, for example, combining computers or networks to monitor or control other things are there from decades. Okay, I'll just move to the next slide. When anyone or when you search the term IoT, as an IoT definition, the back slide, I mean the previous one. Yes, this one. When you search the definition of IoT, and you'll find countless and endless amount of definitions. It is too technical or it is too deep to understand. And for example, one of the IoT definition is um, IoT is an open and comprehensive network of intelligent objects that have the capacity to auto-organize, share information, data, and resources, reacting and acting in the face of situation and changes in the environment. So simply to put it, if you have, for example, a device with a switch on or off, or yeah, if you have a device with a switch on and off, and another device with the on and off switch, you can connect them to each other and connect them to the internet. This, like by this, you will have, for example, a small use case. But why do we need all that? Why do I need all devices to be connected to the internet? Have you thought about it like from before? Why do I need all, for example, my cell phone to be connected, my, let's say, my coffee maker, my headphones, for example? Um, let's say also just have a look around you. You'll see you'll see, for example, devices that can be connected to the internet and devices that are already connected. For example, like your wearable devices. So, why do I need all those devices? Why do I need all those complexities to like to be, for example, connected to each other and connected to the internet? If you think about it, for example, it's just for better quality of life. If you think about it, let's say that you want to visit Dubai Mall. And in Dubai Mall, when you enter, you see the big digital signage that has, for example, each floor will have, for example, this free parking slot or this number. And each floor would have the same information. By this digital sign, just like one I mean, by just looking at this digital sign, okay, at the back of your mind, you are planning in like which floor do I want to go to, or which floor would be like less congested so I can park easier there. And when you enter, for example, let's say floor 5, and you will see those red or green parking sensors. This helps you in, for example, planning better. So this is one of the IoT use cases, which is smart parking, which is making your, for example, life easier. You're planning, for example, to find the parking slot is much easier. Let's say, imagine if Global Village had parking sensors. Wouldn't it be easier for us to just plan and see where do I park, where is the nearest parking? Going back to the Dubai Mall parking, just imagine if MRs was like decided to step up the game, and through their application you can reserve a parking, or through their application that you can see the shortest route to the first available parking in Dubai Mall. Wouldn't it make your life easier? So this is, for example, one IoT use case, which is smart parking. Let's say, let's take another example, which is smoke detection sensors. Imagine if those sensors was not available. Imagine living in a building with no smoke detection sensors. You will depend on the sense of smelling. And what if you're having a flu, for example? You'll lose your life. So IoT is making our life easier. Plus, it is protecting us from, let's say, from any dangerous situation we're facing. One of the also use cases, Hassantuk, which means in English, protecting you. This is one of the biggest projects in the entire United Arab Emirates, where homes and buildings are connected to the fire alarm systems, back to the authorities. For example, if an fire started, they are notified, and the time of response is within like minutes, just to save people's life. So this is the beauty of, let's say, IoT, where everything is connected for efficiency at, for example, workplaces or companies, for better lives of people, for example. You will see smart cities, smart meters, um, smart environment, smart agriculture, smart water. Everything is smart for just for the serving people. Okay, having said that, I'll just move to the IoT architecture slide. Okay. Uh, just to mention, there is no general agreement for all widely recognized IoT architecture, and there is different researchers have proposed different architectures, and this is because or depends on the use case, whether it was, for example, for smart city or it was for a smart home. So I'll stick to the basic layers, which are the sensing layer, network layer, and application layer. For example, the sensing layer is the actual physical layer where all sensors are present there, and the sensors are gathering information and sensing the environment, and for example sensing other smart objects in the same environment. The next layer would be the network layer, which is responsible of connecting those physical or those physical devices or sensors to the network, for example, or to servers, or for example to other smart things. And at the end, plus, before moving from the network layer, it is also used for transmitting and processing the data that is gathered by the sensors. And the last thing would be the application layer, which is the application specific service to the user. And you can see, for example, the actual deployment of smart homes, smart cities, smart health. And the application depends on if it is for consumers, the application would be, or the dashboard would be different than the one the company or the organization are seeing. Plus, in some of the architectures between the network layer and the application layer, you will find an IoT platform for use, for example, for processing the data, making smart decisions, and so on. Okay. I'll just move to, or before moving, there would be, it's fine. There would be two types of protocols. For example, the data protocol for transferring the actual data, and the communication protocol for connectivity, basically. And connectivity protocols are two types: the licensed and the unlicensed. The licensed, basically, it comes from the operator, which is the 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G SIM cards, let's say, and the unlicensed one, which is the widely used Bluetooth, Zigbee, as well as Z-Wave. Okay, I'll move to the application or the next slide. IoT and the pandemic. With IoT situation is like someone has pressed the fast forward button. We've seen like all of these applications, all of these use cases being developed and implemented like within no time. This is just to serve people, to lessen the burden on our brothers and sisters in fighting COVID and front lines. So one of the use case was smart or the smartwatch. It was an program home isolation from Abu Dhabi, where the patient um, is requested to wear a wearable device or a smartwatch to monitor, for example, if they are following the rules, if they are being quarantined at homes. This is because of if if they were not monitored, let's say, they can go to public places and jeopardize public health. Um, Also, from those smartwatches, you can monitor or you can see the vital or health reports of for example, the patients themselves. And the second app that we've seen in COVID was Trace COVID app. Basically, Trace COVID app, when you have it installed, for example, me and for example, let's say my friend, when we have it installed, and both of us enabled or opened Bluetooth, so there is information exchange between the both devices that contains the records, for example, of individual that I had contact with, and those I mean those this information is being stored actually in let's say on your cell phone. Because, for example, in the future, that authorities can track and monitor if, like, let's say I was COVID positive. They will see, for example, from the records I have, who are the people that I had contact with, and this is the real power of IoT, and how it was fighting against COVID-19. The one famous app also was Al Hassan UAE app. It was the official app in all over the UAE, where also, for example, you'll receive the test results of the COVID tests that you are doing. Let's say if and this is one of, for example, the vision of our leaders, having a paperless government. For example, when you do a blood test, you should go to the clinic or to the hospital. You should revisit again just to see like the results. While COVID, you just receive your result on your phone. This made our life easier. Just imagine if this was not there. You'll just go and do the test, and for example, what I wouldn't wait for my result. I'll just go and collect it from the hospital or the clinic, and it'll be inconvenient, and it'll be dangerous. If I was positive, for example, I will jeopardize people's health, and by this it will, for example, if this was not there, for example, the spread of this virus will be much more. Another, let's say, use case that it was in South Korea. They delivered, let's say, medicines or any medical, uh, anything medical that patient needs by drones to their home. And for example, in China, they used to monitor, for example, and see by drones to see, for example, if there are crowds in a certain area or no, and they can, for example, separate them. Also, in this was in UAE as well. They using, for example, helmet would have as thermal sensor or thermal cameras where they can see, for example, if individuals are having high temperature or anything. Okay. I'll just move to the next slide. Yeah. One of in this slide we have IoT verticals, um, which are the use cases that we have in our lab at Do. So we are having a lab called U5 Gig, an innovation lab, which is in Silicon Oasis, and we are partnering with let's say with universities, with colleges, and with technology partners. Plus, for example, we provide students with the guidance they need, any support they need, and if they can, for example, enhance or develop anything in our, for example, lab. Let's take an example, smart agriculture. So what will be smart agriculture? So sensors will be installed in the soil just to sense and check the level of, for example, water, if the leaves have water, the level of moist, and the level of water. So let's say intelligent or decisions can be made that, for example, if the soil is dry, I'll send in the system itself will send a notification just to, for example, open the water sprinkles. Let's take current situation that we, like, for the past couple of weeks we're having this fog. So when humidity is there, there will be no need for the sprinkles to be on. So you're saving water, you're saving, for example, energy, and this is made by the um, the use case of smart agriculture. Let's say if I'm having a couple of farms, with installing the right devices and the right sensors and the right transmitting and processing tools, I'll just have a smart environment and a smart agriculture. And for example, let's say, for example, the plants or the plants in the area would be, for example, watered at the right time, watered, for example, not watered if not needed. Let me take another example, which is I can't see it. Smart meter. Smart meters, for example, if you'll see the bill from DIWA, let's say you have 2 months and you cannot identify like why my consumption was high at this month and it was low at that the other month. By smart meter you can install, for example, smart tags to your distribution or to the DB and check, for example, every component at your home. Like let's say the AC is consuming more, the lights are consuming more. You will differentiate what you need to, for example, less where you need to less your consumption of electricity. Also, I'll take the smart water and smart environment. Those are, for example, smart water can be implemented in like aquariums or in for example, let's say canals, anywhere with water, just to see, for example, the temperature or the pH level, and to monitor, for example, how healthy is the environment there for the creatures under the water, or if my aquarium, for example, temperature is set right for, let's say, for the sharks, for the fishes, and so on. And in the smart environment or smart cities, gases are being measured. For example, if I see that there's specific sensors that sense gas, for example, carbon dioxide or CO2, I can check where is the high emission of CO2 يعني, um, such areas. I can check also why is this happening. Because I have those information, like decisions can be made, like for example I need to plant more trees, or I need, for example, to lessen the cars entering in a specific area. Okay. Let me take, for example, this use case, the middle picture that you're seeing. This is a smart waste use case. For example, if those bins had a sensor, and the sensor, for example, sends information to my back system, or my system at the back end, that, for example, this bin in area 1 is full, just send a driver. So the system will send a notification to the nearest driver just to collect this, for example, or to empty this bin. Um, Such kind of activities are done at night, and instead of, let's say, those trucks roaming around every neighborhood and roaming around every road at night and consuming, let's say, fuel, and really some of them are like noisy. So this can be used to, as I said, to save fuel, and for example, there will be no need for the bin to be piled outside the bin itself. So once the bin is full, it will send immediately a notification that this needs to be, for example, emptied out. And as you can see in the screen, you will see the dashboard of the system itself. When I fill out or empty the bin, the circle will be empty. So this can be used, for example, in smart cities, and for more efficiency, and for more for like better quality of life. This one is, as I mentioned, is Hassantuk use case, which is implemented in, let's say, buildings. Okay. And as you can see, those will be the dashboards, the small dashboards having all the readings from all smart cities, like, and getting the feed from all the sensors that we are having and having it installed. Most of those use cases are implemented in Silicon Oasis, and it can be implemented like anywhere and everywhere. Okay, I'll just move to the next slide. Yes, as I mentioned, this is an innovation hub or innovation lab where we are collaborating with students, collaborating with companies. And for example, we're hosting students just to support them, to listen from them. Because many of you have, for example, a ready-made use case or a prototype that needs, for example, industrial support or the support of companies. So our lab purpose is is this: we're supporting students, we're collaborating with technology partners to, for example, provide support or provide guidance, and how you can participate, or how we can help you. There will be this email, and we can help you throughout the same. Couple of years back, also we've hosted something similar to the hackathon, which is a really interesting thing that you guys are participating in. You're taking your ideas and your use cases to the next level. In it, for example, I'll say that it is a learning journey. You're having the passion, you're eager to, for example, uh, implement your use case, or for your use case to see the light. So this will be from my side. At the end, um, like I discussed the basics of Internet of Things, and future will be having like more and more interesting stuff, because we are having like billions and billions of devices that are like talking to each other, and the intervention of human are being less. And yet, for example, IoT as a technology is evolving gradually, and despite like the obstacles, the security obstacle, it is really changing our lives to it's changing our life to live like better, to live like better. Yes, and this will be all from my end. In conclusion, IoT use cases are being friendly, user friendly, and accessible to everyone. And with the latest technologies, with the latest, for example, let's say connectivity, with having 5G and narrowband IoT, will have more and more, let's say, more and more use cases in the future that are helping people, are helping lives, helping us to live better, and for better quality, for better efficiency at, let's say, organizations, companies, and everywhere in the world. So this is from my side. I hope this was informative for you. I just was talking about the basic, just to clarify that the IoT is not as complex as they say. You just need to, for example, understand the basics, and understand where are your pain points, or where are you need to, for example, develop, or let's say if you're having any pain point or any issue with any thing in the world, how you can make it, or how you can make your life easier. And that's all.